The cruise industry has spent decades training you to reach for your wallet. Every upgrade, every extra comfort, every little convenience. After enough voyages, you just assume it costs something. And honestly, that assumption makes sense. These companies are very good at what they do. What I'm about to show you is that some of the most useful things on the ship are completely free. They just require knowing they exist and knowing exactly what to say when you ask. Now, I know what some of you are already thinking. You've been on 15, 20 cruises. You know what's included and what isn't. You're not a first-timer who's going to fall for a list video title. Fair enough. But what I'm not talking about is the buffet or the pool deck or the shows. I'm talking about specific services and accommodations. Things that require the right words and the right person that most passengers never access, even after years of sailing. So stay with me for a few minutes. My name is David Calloway. I spent 14 years working guest services on cruise ships. Started on mainstream lines, worked my way up through premium, finished my last 2 years as assistant front office manager on a luxury line. I left recently, and one of the things that comes with leaving is that I don't have an employer to protect anymore. No policy to spin, no reason to hold anything back. What I'm telling you in this channel is what I actually saw, what actually works. The 12 things I'm covering today run the full range. Some are practical, some are about your health and comfort, and a couple of them are going to change how the last morning of your cruise goes. Not slightly, noticeably. Here's what stuck with me most in all those years behind the desk. Passengers would come up to me on day 6, sometimes day 7, the day before disembarkation, and mention something they'd been living with the entire trip. An uncomfortable mattress, a fridge full of minibar items they never touched but couldn't use, waiting in a crowd on the last morning when there was another option the whole time. And when I told them they could have asked about any of it on day 1, the look on their faces wasn't frustration. It was just quiet disbelief that nobody had told them. That's what this video is. Consider it me telling you, before you board, not after. Let's start in the cabin, because that's where most of these begin. If you've ever spent a night on a ship staring at the ceiling because the mattress felt like a slab of pressed cardboard, you already know why this first one matters. Housekeeping keeps foam mattress toppers in storage on most ships. They don't advertise them. They're not on any menu or amenity list. They exist, they're available, and most passengers have no idea. Ask your steward on day 1. I tend to sleep better with a little extra cushioning. Do you happen to have a foam topper available for my cabin? That framing matters. You're not complaining about the mattress. You're stating a preference. Crew respond to those very differently. One's a problem to manage, the other's a request to fulfill. Availability is better on premium and luxury lines, spottier on mainstream. So ask early, while there's still time to sort it out. While you're talking to your steward, here's something worth knowing if you travel with a CPAP machine. A significant number of passengers in this age range do. Most of them pack the machine and figure out the water situation when they get there, usually by grabbing a bottle from the buffet and hoping for the best. What they don't know is that the medical center on virtually every ship stocks distilled water specifically for CPAP use. And on most lines, they'll arrange for it to be delivered to your cabin. Just ask. I travel with the CPAP machine. Can you tell me how to arrange distilled water for my cabin? If you have time before the cruise, contact the special needs desk in advance. They can have it ready when you board. But if you forgot or didn't know until right now, you can ask once you're aboard. One note, some lines have started charging a small fee for delivery. Worth asking up front whether it's complimentary before you assume. Now look at the mini fridge. On mainstream lines especially, you'll walk into your cabin and find it already stocked. Beer, sodas, snacks, mixers. Touch anything and it appears on your account. So most passengers just leave it alone. The whole fridge sits locked behind its own contents while their medications sit out at room temperature. Here's what you do. Tell your steward, could you clear out the minibar for me? I need the space for my own items. That's it. They'll remove the stock and the fridge is yours. For medications, for the wine you brought aboard, for whatever you need. Some stewards will have you confirm what was removed so there's no billing confusion later. That's a good thing. Don't skip that step. On the subject of the cabin, hangers. This one is almost too simple to include, except that I watched passengers spend entire 7-day cruises draping blazers over desk chairs rather than just asking. Your steward has extra hangers. They always have extra hangers. Any chance you have a few more of those is genuinely all it takes. I'll leave it there. This next one is about protecting your money, and it's the one I most wish passengers had known. Most people find out what they actually spent on the last night of the cruise. An envelope under the door, a final total, sometimes a charge that shows up on their card once they're already home. By then, doing anything about it is frustrating. Here's what almost nobody knows. You can ask for a printed copy of your onboard account on any day of the cruise. Day 2, day 4, whenever. Walk to guest services and say, "Could I get a printed copy of my current onboard account?" Then look it over. The errors I saw most often weren't people being cheated. They were small system mistakes, a duplicate charge from the specialty restaurant, a drink that didn't register against a package correctly. Things that take 4 minutes to fix on day 3 and take the joy out of day 7. Catching something early, when you're relaxed and the desk isn't backed up, is a completely different experience than catching it the morning of disembarkation. Last one in this half, and it's quick. Cruise lines are pushing hard to move everyone onto their apps. The daily program, the schedule of events, times, venues, increasingly exists only on your phone. If you'd rather have a paper copy, ask for one at guest services. Do you still have paper copies of the daily program? They're still being printed. You just have to ask for them. On vacation, not everyone wants to navigate an app to find out when trivia starts. That's a reasonable position. Those 6 are the ones to handle in the first day or two, some of them before you've finished unpacking. What comes next is where things get more specific. And a couple of these, I'll be honest, surprised even me when I started working on premium and luxury ships. If you take injectable medication, insulin, blood thinners, anything that requires a needle, you already know that disposal at sea is a problem you have to think about. Most passengers handle it however they can and don't mention it to anyone. What they don't know is that the medical center on every ship stocks sharps containers. And on most lines, they can arrange for one to be placed directly in your cabin. You don't have to figure this out on your own. Ask guest services. I use injectable medication and I need a sharps container in my cabin. Who should I contact for that? 2 minutes? Done. Like the CPAP water, you can also arrange this before you board through the special needs desk if you have time. But it's available either way. And it's one of those things where I genuinely don't understand why it isn't mentioned in the pre-cruise materials. It should be. Now, outlets. Cruise ship cabins, especially on older ships, were built before everyone traveled with 4 devices that all need charging simultaneously. You might have 2 outlets in the whole room. Surge-protected power strips are banned. And that rule is real. They're a fire hazard, and crew will confiscate them. But a plain power strip with no surge protection is generally permitted. And on many premium and luxury lines, guest services keeps a small supply available to loan out. Almost nobody asks. When you do, say it this way. Do you have any power strips available to borrow? Not surge protected. I know those aren't allowed. That last part is doing real work. The moment you name what isn't allowed, the staff member across the desk knows you've done your homework. You're not asking them to bend a rule. You're asking about the version that follows it. That distinction changes the conversation. Here's one that feels small but doesn't land that way. On most mainstream lines, bathrobes are a sweet amenity. Standard cabin guests see an empty hanger or nothing at all and assume that's just how it is. On premium and luxury lines, housekeeping stores robes beyond what gets placed in suites. And if you ask, you'll get one more often than you'd expect. The framing matters here more than almost anywhere else on this list. I know robes aren't standard in this cabin category. Is there any chance you have one available? That phrase, "I know it's not standard," tells the steward you're not confused, you're not going to escalate, and you understand this is a favor. It takes the defensiveness out of the ask entirely. Mainstream lines are genuinely hit or miss on this. Premium and luxury, it's a reasonable request with a good success rate. Formal night. If you have a jacket or a dress that's spent 3 days in a suitcase, it doesn't look its best. On many premium and luxury lines, there's a complimentary pressing allowance built into the voyage, typically 1 item per stateroom. It is almost never advertised. The laundry menu in your cabin will show you the prices. It will not show you the exception. Ask your steward, "I have a jacket for formal night. Is there any complimentary pressing available? Or could you tell me what the options are?" That second half of the sentence is important. You're asking for information, not demanding a favor. And when a complimentary option exists, that's usually how staff will surface it. This is premium and luxury only. Mainstream lines generally don't offer it. If this channel has been useful to you, subscribing takes 2 seconds, and this is the only place I'm putting information like this. Now, the last 2. If you have mobility challenges, heart or respiratory conditions, or any medical situation that affects how you move around the ship, especially at tender ports, Guest Services can formally document that. Guest Services can formally document that accommodation on your file. This is not the same as mentioning it to the gangway crew in passing. A formal record changes how the ship responds to you. Tender boarding priority, additional staff assistance, medical crew awareness. It all flows from that documentation. Ask specifically, "I'd like to have my mobility accommodation documented formally with Guest Services. Can you help me with that? I want to be straightforward about something here." Ask for documentation. It changes how the ship responds to you. There are procedures, sensitivities around liability, all of that. I'm not under any of that anymore. Get it in writing. This is critical. And last, the one that changes the final morning. Picture disembarkation day. It starts early. Hundreds of passengers sitting on every available surface in the atrium and the buffet, waiting for their color to be called. Nowhere comfortable to sit. Nothing to do. Nobody looks like they're on vacation anymore. Most passengers with late flights know they can request a later disembarkation time. What almost nobody knows is that on many premium and luxury lines, and occasionally on mainstream ships for top-tier loyalty members, you can ask Guest Services to arrange a dedicated waiting lounge. Quiet, seated. Sometimes coffee, sometimes a light bite. Available until your departure window. Ask the day before you disembark, not the morning of. "I have a late flight and I've put in for late disembarkation. Is there a dedicated waiting area or a lounge available for passengers staying aboard longer?" The way you leave a cruise affects how you remember it. Walking off relaxed, from somewhere quiet, at your own pace. That's a different experience entirely than counting ceiling tiles in a crowded atrium for 2 hours. A small number of passengers on every sailing know to ask for this. Now you're one of them. 12 things. Not one of them costs money. Every single one of them requires the same 2 things: knowing they exist and knowing the right words when you ask. That's the whole thread running through this list. The cruise line doesn't advertise any of it because none of it generates revenue, but every experienced crew member in Guest Services knows about all of it. The gap isn't information on their end, it's access on yours. You don't need to memorize all 12. That's not the point. Pick the 2 or 3 that actually apply to your next trip. Write them down on a note card if that helps. One practical thing you can do right now, before you even book anything. If you use a CPAP machine or injectable medication, find the special needs contact for your cruise line and reach out before you sail. Get it arranged early. Everything else on this list can be handled once you're aboard. When you do board, day 1, day 2 at the latest, talk to your steward. Mattress topper, minibar cleared out, extra hangers. These are 30-second conversations that affect every night of your cruise. On day 3, walk to Guest Services and ask for a printed copy of your onboard account. Look it over while you still have time and energy to deal with anything that looks off. And the day before you disembark, if you have a late flight, ask about the waiting lounge. One question. Ask it the night before, not the morning of. Here's the thing I kept coming back to in 14 years behind that desk. The passengers who had the best cruises weren't the ones who spent the most. They were the ones who understood what the ship actually offered and weren't embarrassed to ask for it, calmly and specifically. Crew want to say yes. That's not a line. Most people in Guest Services went into hospitality because they genuinely like helping people. Give them the right words and a reasonable ask, and they will almost always find a way. The industry trained you to reach for your wallet. You don't always have to. If this saved you even one uncomfortable night or one stressful morning on your next cruise, that's exactly why I'm making these videos. The next one on your screen right now,
I'd watch that one before you sail too.